The crazy thing about E6 film is that like a lot of photographers know it's like, it kind of sucks, but it can be pretty sweet at the same time. What makes it potentially epic is that it gives you really true to life colors, and the saturation and the colors are really, really lifelike. But if you don't nail that exposure, man, they suck. So hopefully I nailed it. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This week we're gonna be testing out a little Ektarchrome 100. The last time I shot slide film on this channel, I was turned off completely. My experience with slide film is minimal, and the few times that I have shot it, I've been slightly happy with the results. So much so that I kind of put it to the side for color negative film, just for the flexibility and the range that you get with Portrait 400 or any other color negative film. So I saw a couple people post some photos with Ektarchrome 100, and I gotta say, I got back into it. And so this week, I want to just take a couple rolls, explore Brooklyn Heights, and just see what I can get, and then see if I like the results, if I'm gonna get back on this Ektarchrome 100 slide film train. I'll be shooting with the Texas Leica. If you're new to this channel, this is kind of my go-to film camera. I'm always shooting with this. There's a ton of episodes if you wanna check them out if you're into this camera. But that's it. Let's go shoot and see what we get. Make sure I set my light meter to ISO 100. Make sure that's straight. It's kind of a pretty overcast day, so this wasn't the ideal settings to shoot Ektarchrome. Would have liked to have some shadows and some more contrasty light going on, but we'll make do with what we got. Taking a photo of this facade, I really like the structure. I like the stop sign, and I kind of like the alleyway. I don't know, and I like the deep orange color a lot, especially with like the way that the street kind of disappears. It's nice. It looks historic. Got some decent range, so the light meter is saying f11 at 125, so we'll do that. First shot of Ektarchrome 100. .125 at f4. Like a lot of times people like offer up like picture advice, and they're like, oh, you have a camera, you should go take a picture of like that bird. There's a bird here. I'm like, I don't really do birds though, bro. like shout out to all the bird photographers, but I don't shoot birds. I've taken this photo a few different times, but it'll be nice to see how the colors look and how it turns out shooting on Ektarchrome. It's a classic deli look. Like, look at this thing. It looks like the classic New York deli you would see on a movie. Coming in at 5.6, 125. I kind of like to shoot at 125 at the minimum, just so I know I'll have everything in focus, decent enough speed. I can shoot at 60 if I need to, but that's only if I need to. And in this case, while I would like the extra depth of shooting at f8, I think at 5.6 will be fine, so that's what we'll do. I'm gonna probably use some of this to kind of add more depth to the shot, and then that way we have like this extra layer going on with this green in the front, and then you get this classic building in the back. That's what I hope to gain. All right, 1, 2, 3. I'm really liking these flowers over here. I like the way that the foliage is like kind of covering the stop sign. So I'm gonna see if it's worth the shot. So like in a perfect world, I would be able to get the red from the stop sign with the flowers in the background. I can't really do that because I'm kind of restricted to shooting the back of the stop sign to get the flowers in the shot. I don't know if it's a photo or not. Let's see. No. but this block is fire though. All right, so this is probably our first slightly challenging photo. So I really want the entire block in focus, but since I'm shooting medium format, my lowest I can go is f4, and that's leaving me at 125. So I'm not gonna get the shot that I want, but hopefully it turns out okay. I'm gonna get this yellow jacket in the shot as soon as she gets in the middle, and got it. I'm back at the stop sign again, and I want these flowers. So what I'm gonna do is try to get these beautiful brownstones on the other side of the street with a touch of this one and the red stop sign and the flowers. Since I'm shooting at f4, I'm gonna make sure I hit my focus point on the stop sign, because I think that's probably the one spot that will grab people's eye in this photo. So let's do that. 1, 2, and 3. I've taken this shot so many times, and this actually be a good comparison, because I'm pretty sure I've taken this shot with iPhone, the Leica Q. So that actually would be cool to compare the Leica Q colors with this Ektarchrome 100, kind of see what we get. Granted, you have to take into account that it's overcast, but other than that, it'd be worth the comparison. It's time to reload. This is like the perfect bench to actually load some film. Yo, so I might take the same shot again, but I kind of like the post office truck. It kind of makes it even a little more classic. I'm trying to shoot this river deli across the street because it looks really cool. But then I saw these flowers, so I'm trying to add that to the foreground. It's kind of just a test to see if this is a good idea or not. I have about 5 more frames left on this roll, so I'm basically going to dedicate these 5 frames to finding some nice harsh shadows, unless the sun goes back under the clouds and then it's over, but hopefully I can get some shots in with some nice cool highlights and shadows. Wish me luck, y'all. Just for a little test, I'm gonna shoot down the middle of this street here. And so the sun's kind of hitting this side, the left side, so I'm gonna meter for the highlights. And let's just kind of see what the shadows look like and how the highlights turn out. I can shoot at f8 at 125. That's a big accomplishment. Nice. This looks nice. All right, so for this shot, which I'll step back and frame it this way, I'm going to meter for the highlights. And that's f8 at 250, and then the shadows is coming in at f8 at 30. So I'm gonna split the difference and see what we get. One of the lessons that you kind of learn with shooting slide film is meter for the highlights, not for the shadows, as if you were shooting color negative film, because it doesn't have that flexibility. So a lot of people recommend metering for the highlights and then just letting the shadows fall where they may. All right, so I kind of like this little foliage kind of going over this brownstone. So when this couple walks by, I'm gonna go meter for the flowers. f8 at 125. All right. 1, 2. Look at this sprint though. Take a look at this sprint right here. Y'all judge people's running styles. The shadows are hitting this building perfectly. So I'm gonna, again, more on testing this Ektarchrome with the shadows and the highlights. I'm gonna frame it up so I can get some of this going on and see how it kind of turns out. Oh, you know what? I should do a test with some blue sky, because the other thing about Ektarchrome is the blues are super, super blue. So maybe I'll find something for the last shot with a lot of blue sky so we can see how the blues look as well. I'm not loving it, just not. I could do it for the sake of the episode, but this is not. How about this? I'm gonna take this shot, but I'm doing it for you. It's not for me. I don't even want it. Still at F8 at 125. That's a wrap. All right, so that's it for this part of the episode. Let's head back and let's take a look at some of these Ektarchrome 100 shots, see what we like, what we don't like, how the shadows fall, how the highlights fall, just overall get a comparison of some of these photos. All right, y'all, so it's been a few weeks since we shot the original portion of this video, but now we got our film stock back from FW Photo Lab. If you guys need a lab or have been looking for a new lab, check these guys out. I'll have their information in the description below and a promo code for you to use if this is your first time dealing with them. They're super talented, and as you can see, the scans are beautiful. So anyway, what I wanted to do is kind of sit down and go through a couple of these photos that I liked, that I wanted to compare with the Leica Q, and also some photos that I didn't like from Ektarchrome 100. So let's get into it. The first thing that jumped out to me when I saw those photos were the colors, and that's the greens and the pinks in this photo. The first thing that jumps out is that there's no blue in the highlights, there's no blue in the shadows, and that was something I was expecting to see with Ektarchrome. I thought I was gonna get a lot of that blue that kind of shows up in Ektarchrome we're kind of used to seeing, and I didn't get that. And I'm thinking it's because of the overcast day. There was actually no actual blue in this scene, and I think it allowed those greens and those pinks to really thrive and be the colors that they are. I really love this photo. I think the textures and the details that you shoot 100 speed film with really shows up, super sharp. And then again, those colors are really lifelike. So for me, this photo really takes the cake. All right, so the next photo that I want to take a look at is very similar in terms of not having a lot of blue in the photo. And that was when we were down this block. It's a beautiful brownstone street. And at this point in the day, it's overcast and we pretty much have all gray skies. So there's not a hint of blue anywhere in this scene. And again, the colors are very, very true to life. This is exactly what it looked like that day, with a little hint of magic, right? It still looks a tad bit more beautiful than real life, but it looks exactly like the day that I shot it. And even when you zoom in and you look at this lady who's walking down the street with this yellow jacket on, you look at the yellows, it's very, very true to color. The greens are nice and the browns are nice. And overall, I have to say, on an overcast day, Ektarchrome 100 seems to perform really, really well. So let's actually dive into a couple photos that I didn't like, and also some of the actual perceptions that we have on Ektarchrome 100 kind of came to life for me. And that's the last photo that I took of the day. I wanted to test the actual blues in this photo. As you guys remember, I took this photo just for you guys so we can look at it together. And I hate this photo. I absolutely hate it. The blues are disgusting and they cast all through the windows, all through the shadows, and it gives off this really weird color. Which is funny because you would think that it would give the blues more life, but it almost takes away from the rest of what's going on in the image when the blues take over this way. Not a fan whatsoever. So yeah. All right, so with this photo, I decided to do a couple different tests. I decided to meter for the highlights, meter for the shadows, and also ended up exposing for middle gray. And as a tip for you guys, I highly recommend doing a couple different meter tests, because metering for your shadows, while it's something that we're typically used to with color negative film, with slide film, you will blow your highlights out, and it's really, really hard to recover, almost unlikely you will recover them. So keep that in mind. You take a look at this photo, I actually meter for both and then split the difference, and you get a really well balanced exposure. And this is a good test at what Ektarchrome would do, because this is actually a shadowy area, and as you can see, you still get a lot of detail in your shadows, and in your highlights, it feels nice and soft and balanced as well. So, good tip. I also wanted to compare with some photos that I've taken of the same scene with the Leica Q. And a couple things that I immediately noticed off the bat is that the Ektarchrome 100 really thrives in this overcast lighting scenario. The colors are so true to the actual scene. The Leica, of course, this photo, while the detail is on point with the Fuji, and the detail and the sharpness are on par with each other, the colors with the Ektarchrome 100 feel very lifelike. I do love the Q and what it does and the sharpness and all that good stuff, but in my honest opinion, I think the Ektarchrome wins. Last but not least is this classic brownstone scene in Brooklyn Heights. Everyone takes a photo of it. I always take a photo of it. Every time I have a new camera or a new film stock that I want to test out, I usually shoot this actual scene because it's so beautiful. And again, the Ektarchrome wins out for me. The colors are exactly what it looked like that day. While I didn't like the other photo of the brownstones in Brooklyn Heights, that's because the sun was out, we had more blue skies. When it's overcast, I think I'm a big fan of Ektarchrome 100, just in terms of the colors and just getting natural, lifelike colors in this image. But obviously the Q is a different beast than the Fuji GW, and film is different than digital, but it's a good look at what this camera can do and what this film stock can do. All right, y'all, so that's it for this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys took some information away from Ektarchrome 100. I think I'm actually back on board, and I'll probably be shooting this film stock a little bit more, especially in overcast scenarios, like I said. Anyway, so that's it. Please give Drix Media a follow. They're the ones who shot this video, and they're the super talented couple behind the production of this. And like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Have a lot of interesting things on the way, some fun videos in the works, one that we're about to shoot in like 3 minutes. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.